believe.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
So a wee bit about you, I guess, first. How long have you been with your current organisation for?
I've been with Trinidad 10 years.
Okay. And I guess a wee bit up, I guess, the scope of your role and responsibilities. The VP
Right.
of Total Rewards, what is that? Lots of folks define reward or total rewards a little bit differently. So,
Yeah, it's essentially a fancy name for comp and ben. Now, my scope is North America, so U.S., Mexico, Canada. Focus of my role is probably 90% on the U.S. because that's where most of our employees are. We've got 5,000 in the U.S., 1,000 in Canada, 1,000 in Mexico. But, you know, they generally, I don't require a lot of guidance. The most of my role is a U.S.-focused role. Compensation is probably 25% of my role. Benefits is 75%. So that's health and welfare plans. It's also retirement plans.
how much direction does I imagine the head office is in Europe?
Yeah, we're headquartered right outside of Zurich, Switzerland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they do give us some direction. There's some of the projects that I get involved in does require me to make sure that they're implemented or followed in Mexico and Canada as well.
Yep. But fundamentally, I imagine they're probably saying you've got a whole different sort of healthcare mix over there as it affects your population, all the rest of it. Get on and give us the recommendations for what you're going to do. I imagine there's a fair degree of autonomy in a situation like that.
On the benefits side, absolutely. Yeah. On the comp side, there's a fair amount of autonomy as well, although we're trying to slowly put some more global structure in place.
Okay. Okay. And here in the US, are you self-funded or fully insured or?
Yeah. So we're self-funded on our health plan. We're insured on some of our, like our life and disability. We're fully insured.
So what are going to be your priorities moving forward? You know, the easy answer everyone seems to give right off the cuff is just looking for more cost-effective, efficient provisions to give to your employees without necessarily taking anything away from what you give them and or the quality. But what are your sort of priorities moving forward for your U.S. and Canadian?
I think we have implemented some nice programs. You know, we sort of follow. We're not, I would say, a market leader in this respect, but we follow some of the best practices that have come across in the U.S. More recently. For example, wellness programs. We've implemented a wellness program that's quite successful 2.5 years ago, but we're looking to expand that concept into financial wellness for next year. So we do have a partner on that. What I think we need to do is to survey our employees to get a sense of what's important to them, relative importance of all these benefits that offer, so that we know where we can either dial down or dial up, or you know, just it seems like we've been implementing a lot. We offer our employees, I think, a pretty nice, robust plan, but we're not sure if it really meets their needs so much. We're now 40% blue collar in the U.S. So, you know, we don't segment it at all. It's all for one, and everyone gets the same thing. And we spend a lot of money on the force. But my challenge, I think, for next year is to try to get a sense of what's important to our employees, and maybe that's probably through some sort of survey, some benchmarking maybe, to see where we are. We know we have a good, healthy plan we can provide to our employees. Pretty rich, in fact, but again, I don't know what's most meaningful for them. If they'd rather have something else, we could reallocate dollars.
So there might be something that surprises you where you're spending too much money on something that they're not fully appreciating, and there could be something surprising that they actually are asking for that perhaps you underestimated, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, right? Because I think what we tend to do is we gear our programs to professional white collar, maybe the management level above, but we have to realize that that's not really representative of our average employee. So yeah, that's just a challenge. We've been talking about that recently, and we've been talking about the need to focus more on behavioral health. Some of that can be achieved. The behavioral health can be achieved through partnership we have with our wellness center. We use Virgin Pulse for that. We're very happy with them, and they seem to be expanding the scope of what they offer as well too. So yeah, that's an interesting opportunity for us. I haven't set objectives for next year, so we're all sort of in the development stage, thinking about it for next year.
You've done very well if you set your wellness program up essentially 2 years ago and it's going well. It's whatever you've done, box it up and sell it.
Yeah, and that's something
that's not most people's case.
I indicated to Sarah that I'd be happy to speak, about that to this population, this audience, or share, be on a panel or whatever. I'd be happy to talk about our experience because it is something I can share that might be beneficial to others. And I was asked to present a breakout session at Virgin Pulse, their annual client meeting in Arizona this year. I did that. So yeah, I can share some best practices around that.
Yep. What in terms of moving the sort of the wellness program to the next level? Obviously, you're going to include financial wellness there. Like, what are you going to? What's this financial wellness going to look like? What are you going to include?
Well, out of the gate, just a simple agreement we signed with Smart Dollar for 1 year. They provide a video-based coaching and tips, where people can get some points, where we can reward them through our wellness program and to participate in that. And we signed on them with them for a year, not knowing if that's something we're going to want to continue, and sort of, the price is right, and we were sort of up against the wall and delivering something. So that's something we haven't thoroughly looked at. We are hopeful that Virgin Pulse would come up with a nice, attractive financial wellness offering, but what they've developed through their partnership with Mercer, we just didn't think it fit, at least initially. They just are in the stages of rolling that out as well. So I think that's an area that we'll look at mid-year next year to see if we need to add or what we need to do in the future with financial wellness. I think it's more difficult to get people excited about that. That's also a very personal thing, people's financial wellness. It's not something like, you don't share your finances too much with other people, whereas you'll easily share how many steps you've taken per day or where you are in the wellness program, right, our health wellness program.
Well, you'll share what you're doing, but you won't necessarily share the fact that you're 65 pounds overweight and you've got high cholesterol, even though everyone can see it or guess it.
Yeah, you'll share up to a point, exactly. Financial wellness we know that it's a tougher sell. You're not going to see the 80% engagement in that like we do in our wellness program.
Yeah, well, if it was easy as all that, you wouldn't need to do anything at all because people will already be doing most of the right, smart things, wouldn't they?
Right. Yeah.
What else are you going to be focused on from a sort of a benefits perspective? A lot of organizations seem to be pushing the voluntary benefits a heck of a lot harder now because it's an easy, relatively cost-efficient, even time-efficient way of trying to give something back to employees when so much has been taken away these past few years. Are you doing anything in particular vis-a-vis voluntary benefits yourselves?
The only voluntary benefit we offer is a hospital indemnity program. We actually looked at a couple others. We have a broker. Aon helps us navigate through this area. And we had them look into some other benefits. And we were interested, but when it came time to wrap things up and get ready for open enrollment, and also the fact that we're going to a new benefits administrator, we're changing our administrator from benefit focus to business solver. It's just a lot of work, and we just could not accommodate anything else for this open enrollment period in terms of elected benefits. It's something we're interested in, though.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say the one you need is like whether your organization does it or not, and you may have already be doing it yourself, is identity theft, oddly enough.
Yeah, that's pretty hot topic.
It's just a sign of the times of I've been busy trying to freeze my daughter recently. That is a bear of a thing to try and do.
You're trying to do what?
With we got hit by the Anthem thing as well as the government, and so my daughter's gift details are all out in the ether there somewhere.
Oh, no.
And you can freeze yourself, which I have, like in terms of your own credit file, but you can't have kids under 18, which is the huge gap anomaly in this whole system. So.
Right, interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've seen that on the list of things. Certainly a hotter topic than it was a year ago.
Yep, sadly enough, and it's sadly it's not going to be going away. It's going to be with us forever, basically, until we decide to do something else with our Social Security numbers.
Right.
About from a sort of a compensation perspective, what changes or improvements, what's good that could be better there?
Oh, we don't even have a salary range structure in the U.S. That's something we're working on now. So we're working on that, but it's going to be something that's going to be more behind the scenes. So we have partnership, or not partnership, but we do use Mercer data, and we try to get competitive information. The logistics industry is tough. A lot of logistics providers are not participating in the surveys, or the data is buried amongst other data points. So it's hard for us, like when we get feedback, like our sales manager says, oh, well, I'm well below market. Some companies, some industries, you can pinpoint the market pretty well. I mean, as well as you can, it's not a science. But that's one of our challenges, is getting good data for the logistics industry that we're in, logistics service providers, to make sure we're benchmarking correctly and that we're paying adequately. I mean, we are an employer of choice in the industry, which is nice. We do offer good benefits. And, of course, in order to attract people, we're going to have to pay competitive wages. But there's a little bit of uncertainty there about how competitive we are. And there's certainly no structure in place that's helping guide us to make sure we're doing all we can to be not only externally competitive, but also internally equitable. But I don't see we don't have any major plans next year on the block in terms of developing, for example, a sales incentive plan. I think that comes down through corporate now, actually. So we take what they have said are the guiding principles and we implement them.
Yep. What are those areas? I mentioned earlier, one of the big things folks are looking at are looking for clever ways, clever cost containment strategies, more effective use of them. Are there any sort of obvious things that as an organization that you can do to improve process or save dollars somewhere along the way?
That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't really focused in on that area so much.
You got rich benefits, so it hasn't been really a focus, has it?
No, it hasn't. I mean, we don't have an issue really on the competitiveness of our benefits. I think we have an issue sometimes with employees appreciating that they do have very good benefits, right? But then that's all around communication and we try to get in front of our employees at least once a year. We're doing that right now with our open enrollment sessions. We require them to re-enroll every year, and we try to move them to our higher deductible plan, which has ended up, actually we have some good results going into this year. Our claims per employee are going down, which is excellent.
That's great news.
Yeah. The new strategy from a corporate perspective is digitalization, right? Automation as much as possible, and using new systems and tools. And I think we're exploring those in the recruiting areas. That's not my area, but there's some interesting things going on there.
Is your overall healthcare cost curve bending down in terms of what you're paying overall? Like, are your people becoming better, savvier, smarter, more discerning consumers?
Well, as said, we did see a actually significant drop in average claims, especially on our high deductible plan from 2016 to this year. Like really significant, and we're not sure what's driving that so much. Maybe a bit of it is luck, right? But we are thinking that, and we haven't measured our ROI yet on our wellness program, but we think our investment in that is beginning to pay off. So at the end of this year, we'll have had 2 full years in our wellness program, and that's where I think we're going to start looking at in more detail and doing some data analytics. Of course, our challenge, like many other companies, is just the resources and the lack thereof, and our ability to just get through the day-to-day stuff without too much pain and suffering, and looking forward to the future is something that is more my job, but sometimes, of course, I'm getting pulled into day-to-day stuff, which is less strategic, but is absolutely necessary.
Good. And you've got here on form absence management best practices.
Yeah, that's one area actually that we've got to bid out to Aon to come in and look at our absence management process, because it's we've grown a lot, so we have more people going out on absences, and we have grown our resources, and we don't really want to grow our internal resources. We want to leverage with our current vendor, or perhaps even a new vendor, a streamlined approach, or approach that reflects really the reality that we can't continue to be so paternalistic, hand-holding, and case-by-case management of of these things. We're doing a lot internally, or more than maybe we should. But that's something we are actively as I said, we've got a bid out, or we're expecting a response any day now from Aon to see how they can help us. And in the meantime, another consultant who I know and we've used for other things has said they could help us, but I'm not sure that's really in their area of expertise. So,
Are you looking to outsource the process, or are you looking for someone to do basically an evaluation of what your internal process looks like right now?
We're open to any ideas. I think the initial view is let's look at the internal process and see if we can leverage the current vendor to do more. So we have Cigna as our current vendor. We would never outsource. We still would need a position internally, but it seems like it's become overwhelming, and rather than add internal resources, we're looking more towards outsourcing more of what we do now.
Well, it's funny enough with the one of the bits of absence management that seems to be causing a lot of sort of trepidation around the traps is just the whole FMLA, ADA process and the way that folks are dealing with that internally, leading to potential lawsuits and things like that. It's, in some of these areas, particularly in some states, becoming a veritable minefield.
Yeah, and you pull in certain state regulations or local regulations and rules around required sick days and that sort of thing, and we need to, of course, ensure that we're continuing to be compliant, and it's hard to keep track of all these changes.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then you've got some that are just massively contradictory, where you've got something in New York City now where, what have they said? They've said about questions you can and cannot you cannot ask anymore, things you can do, which goes completely contrary to what they told you to do before. So if you were going to the strict letter of the law before, you're actually opening yourselves up for all the people that you previously hired to say, well, now that you're doing that, then we were wrong. Like, I'm thinking, one way or another, you're going to get sued.
Yeah, I mean, that's our objective, is to not get sued, right? Stay out of court. But it is hard to keep track of. I'm not sure what you're exactly referring to there, but yeah, I mean, it seems like you read every other day almost. Something.
No, well, what I was referring to was you're not allowed to ask anyone about what they were paid before, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, in any way, shape, form, so you don't prejudice against them, particularly males or minorities. Whereas previously New York City was requiring you to look at what they were paid before with an eye towards giving them 10% more. So the people who were previously hired could now turn around and say, well, hang on a minute, you looked at what I got and you didn't give, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right. That's interesting.
yeah. I don't think I don't think these bureaucrats have completely thought through what they're potentially doing.
No, of course not.
Or I was speaking to another firm the other day, and they were saying, you know, it's their security guards, and they're people not allowed to use medical marijuana for any reason, way, shape, form. But Connecticut has come out and said you can't prejudice against people who use medical marijuana. And so I was speaking to the GC there, and he said, so where does it begin and end? In Connecticut, we can't legally do it with medical marijuana, but we can't prejudice against you. So where's the line here? Because both of them can't be right.
Yeah.
The way it is. Cool, mate. Well, last question for you is, what would be a good outcome for you from this meeting in terms of what do you want to come away with above and beyond the things that would say, well, that was a great use of time?
I would like to come out with a best practice or two from other companies that would apply here, like that I could take back to my manager and say, look, so-and-so is doing this, it's been successful, we haven't considered it here, maybe we should do that, or, you know, those kind of things are, I think, the best use of time, just hearing other folks in my position share their success stories or how they've learned from things that haven't gone so well. That's the best use of time, right? So, yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit blind as to this conference, you know, what the agenda will look like, what the topics are, you know. So I'm looking forward to talking more about that aspect because I don't have anything. I filled out, you know, a survey, and I was told that, you know.
Well, hopefully you got a program for Sarah in the first instance. Like at the end of the day, the short version of that would be there's two sides to this. There's an HR side to the meeting. There's a benefits side to the meeting. In both instances, the topics that you'll find across the benefits and comp side, frankly, are all the topics you'll find at, you know, 24 other things. It's not like we're inventing things that, you know, no one else has thought of or no one else is doing. And if we were, then we'd probably be way too futuristic. So the topics are there, and it's probably not what separates us from other things. What does would probably be, you know, the way we basically handpick the folks who are going to be there, ensuring that everyone has one of two job titles. You're either the CHRO or you're the VP of Benefits and Comp. And two, the fact that they tend to all be, you know, medium to larger organizations, so the commonality of experience and the benchmarking you get from that is practical and real. And three, the way we ask folks to actually do the sessions, which is not to sit there and go, well, this is why we did X. No one needs to know why you did wellness. They all know the answer to that. Well, not necessarily so much even what you did. What's more interested, how you did it, what the learned were along the way, the things that you learned subsequently that, all things being equal, you wished you had have known at the very, very beginning, because that's going to reflect someone else's reality in the audience who's 6, 12, 24 months behind you, and then, you know, what comes around will go around. And then just using time in a, you know, an incredibly efficient way. You'll have think tanks, panels, general sessions, one-on-one meetings, and you go to. We wouldn't have artificially just opted you in. You've got to check into everything, so you've got to make a conscious decision the whole way along, saying that would be worth my time because that's relevant. And if it's not, don't check it off. And
Yeah.
because we don't have any vendors leading any sessions, we've got no trepidation at you picking something or not.
Right. No, that's great. And I'm looking at the brochure that Sarah sent me, and I guess my only concern is, it's definitely geared towards more of a generalist population or people involved in talent and organizational leadership and design. And I'm very much a specialist in the comp and ben arena. So I'm hoping that I can get and provide some value. And so I guess that's being very open with you. That's my only concern at this point.
Yep.
But we'll see.
Good. Good. Mike, thank you very, very much for your time today. And I will look forward to following up with you shortly with regards to some recommendations.
Yeah, Andrew, do we have another call scheduled?
There will be one I'll schedule once your open enrollment is over, and that will just be to go through and do exactly that, and create the itinerary based on your preferences.
And is there a separate call with someone who's going to talk to me about if I'm going to be sharing anything? What
Yep. Alex will be speaking to you about the actual speaking bit, so everything minus speaking.
Alex, okay. I think I scheduled another meeting with somebody. Yeah, Alex. Oh, Andrew. No, we have a meeting on the 28th.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that after your open enrollment's over, or is we staying off?
No, it's tailing off. But it should be okay.
Good.